Will do. Thank you. Good morning again. Good morning, and welcome to our 62nd, can you believe that, 62nd annual meeting. As I was thinking about what I was going to say this morning, I spent a lot of time thinking about the last 2 years. If you remember 2 years ago, we had this event virtually. And I thought about all the challenges that we have faced over the past 2 years. And I thought about how we have overcome those and how we have persevered through those. And one of the ways we did that was that you, members of the Employers Network, came together to find unique solutions to very difficult and challenging problems. And as I look forward and I think about our future, I think we're going to have many more challenges, and they're going to be just as difficult as the ones that we've just gone through. But if we pull together like we have the past 2 years to solve those as a team, we will be stronger, and for that, I thank you. I want to say a special thank you to our sponsors today. Without them, this event would certainly not be possible. At this time, I would like to turn the program over to Kathy Sinclair. Kathy is the Vice President of Human Resources for Spartanburg Regional Healthcare System and also the Chairman of the Board of Directors for the Employers Network. Kathy?
Thank you, Rita. Good morning, everyone. I also want to thank our sponsors and guests for being here today, getting up so early on a Friday morning. It's great to see faces that I don't get to see, but maybe once a year. So Rita spoke a little bit about the history of the Employers Network, and I just want to take a minute to add a couple of additional comments about our organization. So this past year, basically the past 2 years, have been very challenging for all of us and our organizations based on our workforce demands. And so we have over 100 members, as Rita shared. We've come together and we share resources. Employers Network, this network is able to help us get our resources that we need, education that we need, and collaboration to address our needs. So I want to go on record talking about our needs. I'll take a couple hundred nurses when you can find them. Would be great. Yeah, get right on that, Rita. So our mission statement, in part, reads to aid area employers in the development and preservation of a healthy economic climate through the promotion of sound management practices and enlightened employee-employer relations. So we do share ideas between our businesses. We have a strong network, and we are here as an organization to support your business. So feel free to reach out to Rita or any of us as board members, and we'll be here to help you. With our workshops, coaching, she's even doing some recruiting as well for different organizations and unique custom training. So at this time, I would like to thank my fellow board members for their service to this organization. I'll introduce these executives and ask each to stand so we can recognize them for a moment. So Christopher Blickel with SEW Eurodrive, Parks Coggins, Spartanburg Regional, Andrew Dobson with Maccabee Swartz Halliday and Company, Joe Druga with Synthomer, Matt Ezel with Emmon Mills, Steve Feimster with Nestle, Dan Garrison with Milliken, Linda Hannon with Duke Energy, Rick Higgins with Walker Higgins and Associates Wealth Management, Tom Kime with Ford and Harrison, Beverly Ramsey with William Barnett and Son, Joel Sheets with Tyndall Corporation, Mike Shetterly with the Ogletree Deacons Group, and Alan Smith with the One Spartanburg. So I'd like to give every one of you a hand for all the work that you do to support this organization. And at this time, I'll turn it back over to Rita.
Thank you, Kathy. It is my pleasure at this point to introduce our keynote speaker. Our keynote speaker today is Daniel Allison, also known as the Average Dude. And I guarantee you, he is anything but average. He is committed to and has a passion for sharing his story. And he shares his story in hopes that he can help everyone be the best that they can be. Because when we're the best that we can be, we're better humans. Better humans make better teams, and better teams make better companies. Daniel?
If you're anything like me, you've been thinking about this moment for about 3 months. Have you ever had something like that? Looking forward to a presentation, maybe something like this. And we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. We want to go out there, we want to do well. So I'm so excited to be here. Like I say, you don't think about something for 3 months and not get excited. But we have expectations. We have expectations on ourselves. We put expectations on others. We want to meet other people's expectations. Sometimes we do. Sometimes we don't. We have expectations when it comes to a keynote speaker. Who will the keynote speaker be? Maybe it'll be a published author, business executive, maybe an athlete. What we don't expect is for the keynote speaker to be the average dude. But that's exactly what we have. My name's Daniel Allison, and I'm the average dude. People will ask me, why would you call yourself the average dude? So I have to explain it. I think it's pretty obvious, and maybe you will too after this presentation. But number one, average skills, talents, and abilities, average intellect. And number two, I'm a dude. So it just makes sense. But got a lot of good advice. Got a lot of good advice for this presentation. People had told me, they said, Daniel, just go out there and be yourself. Just not the annoying parts. So put me in a tough position there. The topic that I'm going to talk about today is the heart. We're giving out the Heart of Leadership Award. And so anybody, even an average dude, can talk about the heart. And I thought, what exactly do I want to say? What exactly is it about the heart that's so powerful? Because that's the spice that we put on any part, not just leadership, but you got a football player that plays with heart. What does that look like? That's what we want, isn't it? Reminds me of one of my favorite movies. Who's seen the movie Rudy? So 80%, that's good. I was wondering what that number would be. It's a great movie, but Rudy was an average dude, and he had a dream to play Notre Dame football. He wanted to play big-time football. Only one problem, 5'0" nothing, 100 nothing, and wasn't smart enough. So what did he do? He put his heart behind that goal. And like water finding the lowest point, when you put heart into something, good things start to happen. And that's what happened in that movie. We're going to talk more about Rudy in a minute. What I'd like to do now, and I don't want to take too much time, you know, I can talk about the heart all day, but what I thought we would do is really try to capture what it means to be in our heart, right? So we've got an index card there on everybody's table. We've got pens that you can use. And we're going to go back to school. We're going to talk a little bit about elementary school in particular, but if you're about my age, we didn't send text messages. What we did instead, we'd have to write a note. So if you liked a girl, you'd have to say, I like you, do you like me, yes, no, and then give them a way out, maybe. So what we're going to do, we're going to send a note to the person to your right. So whoever is sitting to your right is going to get a note from you. And in this note, You're going to make them feel better, okay? You're going to validate them in some way. You're going to encourage them. You might just put a smiley face. I know some of y'all may or may not know them, but just put something to change their state, make them feel better about themselves, about the day. It's Friday. We're in a good mood. Share that with your neighbor. Some of y'all work together, so you know what that's going to be like. You know what they might like to hear. Isn't that what heart and empathy are all about? I did a video on empathy, and that's why I'm standing here today. So after you get that done, you can pass it to your neighbor. Let's see who can come up with something really good. I know that table in the back is going to do really well. All right. So when you get the note back, and we have to move kind of quickly, but when you get the note, flip it over and write the word, the feeling, one word, the feeling that their words meant to you. So whatever. So write what you felt. Let them know how they did. Genuine compliments only, please. Yes, go ahead. I did hear the question. You read the response. Go ahead and look at what they wrote. What did you make them feel? Now, if anybody has their word back, well, there's still some people exchanging. Let's wait just a few minutes. I'm gonna stop at 30 minutes either way, so y'all have fun. I'm not gonna bore you, I hope. All right. Are we getting some words back? What sorts of words are we hearing back after we send these little encouraging messages? Somebody shout something out for me, please. Appreciated. What else? Happy. Anything else? I'm sorry? Companionship. That's love. I mean, come on, the heart. That's fantastic. Imagine your day. There's a lot of different types of organizations represented here. Imagine your day starting like that, right? Imagine a system to remind us to be empathetic, to think about others. I mean, a 4x6 card can go a long way in doing something like that. So why don't we have a bunch of Rudies running around the office, or maybe just, always the person that's looking to encourage. Maybe we do have that. But in my experience, got one problem, one reason that I'm not in my heart, and that's because I'm up here, in my head, thinking too much. Anybody else have that problem? Thinking about what others are going to think of us. It prevents us from doing things that we know that we should or want to do. And that's not easy to overcome. Starts early. For me, started in the 5th grade. Field day. That was my favorite time of the year. The grass was cut, still green. They had the lines painted there on the playground. All sorts of activities that the kids would do. Had the 3-legged race. That was complicated. Really got to work together on that one. Had the egg and the spoon. I had an egg and the spoon activity that I was going to do, but I don't think we're going to be able to do it. And then my absolute favorite event, and what I was known for, 50-yard dash. I loved the 50-yard dash, and for that 5th grade kid, he really hung his hat on it. Made him feel good to fit in. So you looked at my yearbook, at my annual, it said, Daniel, you're kind of strange, but you sure can run fast. Felt a little like Forrest Gump there, but it's okay. So here we are, 5th grade, the field day event here is getting ready to start. I'm towing the line. There's a new competitor to my left. Never seen this kid. New to the school. Didn't think much about it, but the PE teacher blew the whistle, and we took off running, little legs just to getting it. And we got about halfway down the track, and I said, I've got a problem. The new kid was very fast, faster than the average dude. So what was I going to do? I just talked about Rudy, you know. What would Rudy do? He got knocked down all the time in practice, but he kept getting back up. He would have finished that race strong. What would I do? Finish the race strong, or B, would I fall and fake an injury? So you already know where I'm going. You know exactly. So I rolled and flipped and tumbled. Grass and dirt went everywhere. I sold it. And my friend said, oh, he's faster at the end. He would have come back. I just know it. But wasn't the case. The kid Jerry, he went on to finish the race. But it got me to thinking, that was self-sabotage. I couldn't take losing who I thought I was, and it meant intentionally sabotaging myself, right? So have we ever done that in any part of our life? Maybe found the easy way out? Nobody's going to know, but how do we feel about ourselves? Confidence plummets when we do things like that. And so I look back on my life and I realized, man, you know, oh, by the way, that's a recent picture of Jerry Cantrell. So, sorry, little joke. They're not all going to work, okay? So I kind of repeated those same behaviors. What I thought I would say is I stayed in my head, not in my heart. And I was blessed to have a good heart, good parents that put a good heart into me, but sometimes maybe it's considered the weak thing to be in our hearts, right? I don't know what that was, but sometimes we harden our hearts, we stay in our head, and what is in our head? It's ego. It's a lot of things that keep us from the passion that comes from the heart, basically. So on 11/11/2014, I had a conversation. Someone took the time to talk to me, and something changed. So I was going on 38 years old, right? I went from caring to really caring. From caring to really caring. And I think intellectually we can care, but when somebody really cares about something, it's when we say that someone really cares, it's almost, we know that person has more, they feel more, it's more powerful. And so that's what started happening in my life. I started caring more about my life. Got out of my head, got into my heart. And I started doing things that I hadn't done before. I started being more self-disciplined, you know, just little things, making your bed, you know, 10,000 steps per day. I remember I used to just track how many steps, and I wanted to make sure that I hit those numbers. I was being very self-disciplined. And that's not something that I had. And so that was a big change for me. But doing that built confidence. And with that confidence, I did take uncomfortable actions, right? Everything from jumping out of an airplane, which for me was a big deal, afraid of heights. But I started in Toastmasters, public speaking, and started doing things on LinkedIn videos, and that's what got me this opportunity. So appreciate that. And then the Industrial Network Group and opportunities in leadership, and through Waldrop Mechanical is who I'm business development rep. Great relationships there. Good things start happening when we get out of our head, get into our heart, and start really caring. What else happens? When we're in our heart, it's like a magnet. People know when you're authentic. People know when you're in your heart. So one morning, instead of going to Starbucks, I went to Little River Roasting Company right here in Spartanburg. And I see a group of guys out there, and now those guys mean so much to me. You know, I needed that accountability. I needed that friendship. Didn't have it. I wasn't going to get it until I got out of my head and got into my heart. Another thing that I did, I started a podcast. And through the podcast, I learned that, you know, I was always intimidated to go up to successful people. But what I've learned is the more successful they are, the more human they are, the easier they are to talk to. They tell great stories. It's been an exciting experience and something that I found out that I love to do. I would much rather be interviewing someone than anything else. Everybody's got perspectives, right? So I've interviewed everybody from a decorated Navy SEAL to my 94-year-old grandmother. That's not an actual picture of my grandmother. and the point that I wanted to make here, it's, everybody's got, I liken it to being in prison, right? That's a fun little analogy, but bear with me here. Imagine that you're in prison, it's concrete cell and one window to the outside world. And everybody is in their own cell, and we're in there 365 days a year. So we all have this perspective, and the only way that we can really understand what the other person sees in their perspective is through what I have found through conversations. And the types of conversations where we're being authentic, genuinely curious in what other people see through their window. I did meet someone that really cares. And as soon as I met this person, I knew that I wanted to talk about him today. And because we can tell when folks have that, when they're in their heart. And this guy's name was Rick, and Rick is the maintenance director out at Camp Croft State Park. And the reason that I wanted to talk to you about Rick is because he really embodied a lot of the things that I'm talking about and showed me what it was like to be in to do this in a business type setting and to have success with it. So Rick, I asked him, as I was pulling into the Camp Croft Park area there, the gravel crunching under the tires. I hadn't been out there in like 20 years, jumping off the high dive and that sort of thing. But Rick told me, he said, I asked him, I said, why are you here? He said, well, Daniel, I had a successful business, but I retired from that, and I wanted to put my time and energy into something that I really cared about. And he said that his parents used the trails, that he used the trails, and that he decided that he was going to make this Camp Croft the best that he could. And I said, well, you're doing a great job. They've got the deck down there, or dock down there at the water, and things were really looking good. And so I asked him too, I said, how did you get all the work done? And he said it was through volunteers, because people want to work for someone that really cares. If they're showing passion for what they really care about, people will just, they want to help out. And he said, one of the things that he did was, he went out and he asked some of the volunteers one day, why is it that you guys work all week and then you come out here and help me? He said, they told him, because you tell us that we do a good job. I mean, something that simple was enough to keep them motivated, to keep them helping him build the best park that he could. And you don't want Rick to catch you littering or mistreating the paddle boats. So, because when you really care, you're going to protect the things that you care about. So one of the things that I did in the speech prep, I went and I talked to people in the community. I used some of the things that we're talking about. I went out, I had conversations with folks. And through those conversations, I was able to pick up on a pattern. I'd ask them, I'd say, what is heart leadership to you? Who's someone that you really, when you think of heart leadership, that you think of? And ask them about their qualities. I heard all kinds of great stories, and I don't have time to go into all of those. But one pattern that I picked up on is they felt like the person, the leader, took the time to really care about them. And the way that they did that was just by having a conversation. It's not rocket science. It's not something, but I think that the right types of conversations are what's important. When we take our mask off, when we're willing to be a little vulnerable and to be ourselves, and that goes a long way in having the right kind of heart-connected conversations. So we talked a little bit about Rudy in the beginning, and I wanted to go back to him because I think he really embodies a lot of things that we're talking about and the results that can come from it. Any player on any team that shows heart is a valuable player, regardless of how they might be contributing from a talent standpoint. We need more Rudys. We need more heart. We need more energy, enthusiasm. And remember, he won over his team, and his team was willing to give up their jerseys. These athletic stars playing for Notre Dame, they wanted him to get an opportunity to help him achieve his dream. So you see what's happening here. He's getting carried off. He played one play, and I think that it just really illustrates what happens when we start playing and living with heart. So when we see these two words, if you're anything like me, takes me to September the 11th, 2001, Flight 93. Todd Beamer and those other passengers had to make a plan. Plane was headed back towards Washington, D.C. They had to get out of their head and get into their heart to save other Americans. So when he asked them, were they ready? What did they say? Let's roll. If they can do that, and under those sorts of conditions, these are the words that I tell myself when I'm in my head, and hopefully when you're in your head, you can say something along those lines. Let's roll. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel, for sharing those insights with us today. Be sure you connect with him on LinkedIn. He does a weekly live broadcast, and you can go back and watch it if you miss it, but connect with him so you can see his weekly broadcast. So on the table in front of you, in a little pouch, is a coin. I want you to take those. You don't have to take them out of the pouch, but get your coin. Everyone should have one. This is a challenge coin that was designed specifically for the Employers Network. Challenge coins have a rich military history. And we have invited a special guest today to give us the history of these coins. We have invited Brent Cobb, the Director of Veterans Affairs for Spartanburg County, to share this history with us. Just a little about him. He enlisted in the Marines in 1994 during high school. After serving in the Marines, he joined the South Carolina Army National Guard. Then September the 11th happened, and he went back on active duty in the South Carolina National Guard as an active Guard reservist. He served 22 years and retired in April of 2020. He has received numerous awards. The Meritorious Service Award, U.S. Army Laotian British Parachute Badges, the German Armed Forces Marksmanship Badge, the Quilt of Valor, Honor of the Silver Crescent, Order of St. Maurice, and the United States West Point Society Community Service Award, just to name a few. At this time, I'll turn the program over to Brent to share the history of the challenge coin.
Okay, so I'm just an average dude too, right? I was the average dude that didn't go to college to start with and joined the military. But first, what I like to do, I'd be remiss if I didn't do this in my current position, is if there are any veterans in the room present, would you please stand up and be recognized? Thank you for your service. Now, one more thing. If you are the family member of a veteran, would you please stand up and be recognized? Thank you so much. The reason I do that before I get into this challenge coin thing, which, you know, I'm a history buff. I love the Smithsonian Channel and Discovery Channel and the History Channel and all that stuff. So this will only take me about an hour and a half. So just sit down and buckle in. Just kidding. But servicemen and women cannot effectively do their job without the support and dedication of the people that we leave behind, okay? Because when we move forward to a hostile environment or we have to go off for training or whatever it may be, they're left to carry the load of what goes on in our society. So thank you so much, family members, for the support that you provide our servicemen and women. Okay, so now to this little challenge coin thing. So Rita talked with me a few months ago and asked me if I would talk about a challenge coin. And I agreed to do that. And after looking at the coin, I saw it. She sent me a photo of it before. And I'll tell you a little bit about what I think about this coin toward the end. The history of the challenge coin is it's difficult because it wasn't a sanctioned action. It wasn't written down. It wasn't put into law. There wasn't a House bill that was passed. Some people said it started during the Roman Empire, when the Roman legions would move forward and go to combat, and in their conquest, they would come home. Well, they would get paid for their service, and then they would be given a special coin that was minted for that particular battle that they fought in. And instead of spending it on wine and pleasures and all those kind of things, they would actually keep it as a memento of service. The next story comes in World War I, where there was a rich aviator, lieutenant. They were getting ready to deploy to World War I, and he minted a coin that had their unit seal on it. And each of the people in his unit was given one of those coins, and they put it in a little pouch, either in their pocket or around their neck and that kind of thing. Well, that aviator was shot down. He was captured. He was a prisoner of war. And during that prison time, he actually managed to escape his captors and made it back to the French line, an Allied line. Well, they didn't understand him because of the language barrier. They thought maybe he was a spy or something else. But in the pouch around his neck was the little coin that had the unit emblem on it. He took it out. He used it. The French soldiers actually realized that unit logo, and they welcomed him in. And they gave him a bottle of wine and that kind of thing, and maybe it was because they treated him so poorly to start with, but they gave him that, and they got him back to his troops. The next time a challenge coin is mentioned is in the Korean conflict, the Korean War, the first Korean War. If you don't know, there's 3 Korean conflicts. The second and the third are not talked about a lot, but Wikipedia will help you with that if you need to brush up on your history. So the Korean guy, he was a colonel. He had the unit seal put on a coin and was given to everybody in the unit. So it was not necessarily a challenge coin, so to speak, but it was a coin of remembrance. In Germany, there were little tokens, little coins that were overstamped with a seal on it. And that's where the challenge part came from, because if you were drinking beer and you came in and somebody put it on the table, if you didn't have a higher one, you had to buy the drinks, okay? So that was a challenge. Fast forward to Vietnam. In Vietnam, there was a couple of different episodes in Vietnam. So the first one was there was a bar in Vietnam where the soldiers could go and relax, kind of morale, welfare, and recreation is what we'd call it now, MWR. And they would go in there and they would tell their grand stories of how big the fish they were they caught, right, in their combat system. Well, they couldn't actually figure out who was a combat veteran and who wasn't, because everybody can tell a great story. So the thing was is they would challenge them. So they started bringing ammunition in. Well, ammunition was pretty easily available, and then they started bringing hand grenades in, which is not very good, and then unexploded ordnance. So you can imagine a guy with a bar and these people bringing in all of these unexploded ordnances. So they developed a coin for combat veterans. The Special Forces Operation Group later developed a coin for the 10th Special Forces Group, and there's some of those on display at Fort Bragg. The first official military coin is with the 11th Special Forces Group at Fort Bragg. They actually minted a coin that had the logo on the front, their motto, and on the back was "For Excellence," given by the commander of the unit. So that's where the coins actually turned into what this coin represents today. And they look a whole lot different, okay? So you got some coins, and they're given by different people. They started as a military thing, but now you can use them for special mementos of a ceremony, or you get them from a law enforcement agency or Department of Defense, or in this case, the employer network, okay? They look like dog tags, have little holes in them that you can actually wear them on your dog tag. Some of them look like skulls and crossbones, okay? Some of them are very clever. This came from a Navy captain that was given to me. It has a bottle opener in it, right? So you know the Navy guys. I was like, okay, pal, right? Okay. Some are in the shape of animals. This is from Furman University. It's a paladin, so if you're familiar with Furman. This is from Donald Rumsfeld, the Secretary of Defense. And this one is from number 43. This is from President George Bush. That was given to me on Airport Security Task Force in 2002. So you can see there's a multitude of different shapes and sizes and variations and that kind of thing. And then the one that's most special to me is my coin that we had at Furman. So I was a senior military science instructor, and it has my rank on here. And it says presented for excellence, okay? One team, one fight, because that's exactly what this coin that you'll be receiving today means. It's one team, one fight. It takes a village. It takes a whole coalition of people to come together to make effective change in the community. This says trust, integrity, and leadership. Trust, that is being honorable, okay? Integrity, doing the right thing all the time, even when nobody's looking. Somebody's always watching. Somebody's always looking at your Facebook, your Twitter, your, I don't know, Snapchat, Insta, whatever that stuff is, book, face, I don't know. Anyway, they're always watching you. So, and you can't take it away. It's there forever. So if you say oops, one oops is a whole 100 of attaboys, right? And then heart, the heart of leadership. The average dude talked about heart and what that actually means, okay? Heart is commitment to yourself and to others. These are special to this group of people. And don't take it lightly. Everybody has a coin of some sort, okay? But this is special and unique to this group. It inspires esprit de corps. It inspires camaraderie. It is something that you can take out of your pocket, and I set the fire alarm off, I guess. Until they tell us to evacuate the building. But the Heart of Leadership Award is exactly what it is. It's your heart and your leadership. So while we're waiting on this, does anybody have any questions? Well, thank you that I've set the fire alarm off. If you'd like to see these coins or whatever, I'll have them up here. You're welcome to look at them. I have probably 200 in my office. I'm over on Chesney Highway. If you want to come by and stop by, you're more than welcome to. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm going to start over. No, really, thank you so much. And like I said earlier, those coins will be up here if you'd like to see them and kind of that kind of thing. Who's watched the movie 12 Strong, the horse soldiers, that kind of stuff? So General Mulholland, he was actually the colonel over Operation Dagger. It's my fault. He's a Furman graduate, and I actually have a coin that he gave me up here on the table if you'd like to see that. But thank you so much for your time today and having me come out and give you the history of the challenge coin.
So now you can say you're such a powerful speaker that you set the fire alarm off not just once, but twice. And the good news is we're not on fire, so they have checked out the situation. Thank you so much for giving us the history of the challenge coin. So as you take this coin with you today, we do issue you a challenge, and that's to lead with heart. So take these with you. Keep this somewhere where you can see it to remember the challenge of leading with heart. So now we get to move into my favorite part of today's program. We get to present the 2022 Heart of Leadership Award. A little history about this award. In 2020, we presented the Heart of Leadership Award to Charlie Martin. In 2021, we presented it to Lorraine Baer. And today, we will continue that tradition. The Heart of Leadership is given to someone in our community that leads their team with heart. So what does that mean? Well, the definition that we typically use for leadership is that someone's leading a group of people or a team towards a common goal. And that's true. That's what we're doing as leaders. But someone who leads with heart does just that. They lead their team to a common goal, but they do it with heart. A leader who leads with heart is courageous. They expect the best from their team. They're constantly learning and looking for knowledge. They're courageous, and they demand excellence from their team. At this time, we will present the 2022 Heart of Leadership Award. I want to tell you a little bit about this year's recipient before we reveal who they are. This is just a few, and I mean a very few, of the comments that was given to me by her direct reports, by her team, by her coworkers, and by the leadership of the company. I'm going to read them so I don't get these wrong. She holds everyone to a high standard. She makes it easy to come to her with a problem. She makes it clear that she wants the best for everyone, especially in growth and development. She not only wants the best for her employees, but she wants the best for our company. In alignment with our company's guiding principles, she truly embodies each of the 6 characteristics. Those are optimism, honesty, diligence, stewardship, humility, and shared outcomes. And she displays these 6 characteristics every day. She always wants what's best for her employees. She challenges us to be creative in our problem solving. Safety is her #1 priority. She deeply cares not just for each one of us on her team, but for our families. When I met her 9 years ago, she exhibited a compassion for learning coupled with optimistic outlook that was and still is hard to find. Since then, she has continued to grow into a leader for our organization by holding herself to the highest standards and inspiring others around her to do the same. At this time, I would like to ask Charlie Martin and Lorraine Baer to join me in presenting this year's 2020 Heart of Leadership Award. It is with great pleasure that we present this award to Paige Doyle. Paige is the plant manager for Ortec at the Easley facility. Paige?
Thank you. I'm definitely humbled and honored to receive this. I want to say thank you to Rita and the entire Employers Network team. They have made such a positive impact, not only on myself, but my entire team as we have grown over the years that we have worked with you guys. It is easy to care about my group because I have two families. I have one wonderful family that I get to come home to each evening with my husband and my daughter. And then I also have a wonderful family that I get to go to work to each morning. So thank you very much, and I am definitely honored. Thank you.
Paige, congratulations, and thank you for the leadership that you provide not only to your team but to your company. We certainly appreciate everyone being with us today at our 62nd annual meeting. A special thank you to Candace Hall on my team. She made this event happen. I hope everyone goes forth, enjoy your day, and remember my challenge to you to lead with heart. Thank you so much for being here.